Hey, good morning and good morning and good morning. The question of the day, the question I have for you is, would you swim with crocodiles to achieve your goal? That's my question to you, and I'm going to ask you again. And you're like, what the heck kind of question is that, Mark? I'm not swimming with no crocodiles. Well, I have a great story to share with you in just a moment. If you're on here, let me know you're on here. Just wave. Even if you're catching on the replay, drop it down, replay, it's fine. Let me know when you watch this. I want to know, truly, and let me know in the comments below, would you swim with crocodiles to achieve your goals? I'm going to share with you a story about one time when I did that. This is no kind of spammy, no kind of like bait switch. Literally swam with crocodiles purely to achieve one of my goals. And I was actually writing a little bit. You'll be hear more about that story tomorrow. I'll be sharing that tomorrow. I wrote it today. I'll be posting it tomorrow. But I want to share with you because I got inspired to maybe think back to this time when I was a little bit younger and a whole lot dumber. But I learned a big lesson. Is I'm probably not going to swim with crocodiles anymore. And B, I was really grateful because I achieved my goal from the process. So I'd love to know. Good morning to you, Wendy. Good morning, April. Would you swim with crocodiles to achieve your goal? Well, it depends on the goal, right? If your goal was big enough, if your goal was like, who knows what your goal is and what kind of big goals you have, and maybe that would be really, really fearful, like maybe swimming with sharks or something. But crocodiles, to me, like I would actually swim with a shark, more so probably than crocodile. But I wasn't necessarily aware of the situation that I was in until I was in that situation. Yes, I swam with a crocodile to achieve my goal. And you're going to want to listen to this story. It was back in 2010. And it was my first time in Costa Rica. Now I was on a men's trip. It was a group of men, about 20 of us, and we were on a mission trip / surf trip. You know, through our church. And you're like, man, I want to go to that church, right? Anyway, so here we were in Costa Rica. First time in Costa Rica, by the way. Not very good at surfing. That's the story I'll share with you tomorrow. And the waves, because it's in May, so it was like the rainy season, the waves were quite a bit bigger that time of year. Of course, that's the time they chose to make this trip. So here we are in the van, piled up, bunch of guys in 2 vans, surfboards all over the place, and we're traveling because we heard about these waves, and the guy we were with, it's actually a couple of guys that we were with, knew where to go. So here we are, and they're talking about getting out to these waves that were giant waves. And I was like, everybody's heart was pounding because we kept talking about stories of this particular location called Boca Barranca. You can even look it up. And needless to say now, they weren't waves like this. These are like little kids' waves. Hey, good morning, sunshine. Right? But here's what I wanted to share with you. You see that little bit of water there? Well, there was a big river mouth. Basically what it did was, so there's the beach. I'm sorry. Yeah, here. Like the beach, there was a river mouth that would go out to the ocean. And this is right in, and I think it was called the Boca River, Boca Barranca. And crocodiles. And we're not talking like little tiny 4-foot alligators. We're talking about freaking Godzilla monsters, like 10, 15-foot crocodiles. And by the way, I didn't know that they could actually stay underwater. And they're saltwater crocodiles, and they could stay underwater for 20 minutes before coming up for air. So here I was with a group of guys, and there was some that had gone, some that had been there before, and they said, hey, by the way, we're going to go out to the spot, and it's about a 30 to 40 minute paddle. Now, mind you, I'm not even that good of a surfer at that time. I'd only been surfing for a handful of years. But let's get to the story. You want to hear about the crocodiles and how that relates to you and your goals. But I was on a trip. I wanted to surf bigger waves. That was one of the goals. And I was there to serve as well. We were doing some work with a local church there. And actually, you've seen it because I was just there in Costa Rica recently. And we've had a relationship for the past 10 years, which is awesome. Again, talk about like divine intervention. Here I was swimming with crocodiles. So we get to the river mouth, and we have to cross the river mouth to get to where we need to paddle to these waves. Now, it wasn't foggy like this. You could actually see the waves, and they didn't look too big. Like, oh, they don't look all that big. And they're like, that's because you're like 30 minutes of paddle away from them. So here we are, and there's a river mouth, and they said, hey, over there, like where the kind of the water is coming out, you don't want to paddle over there because that's where the crocodiles are. So here we are, we're like, oh, you know, they'll probably get scared because there's like 20 guys, you know, all paddling out at one time, something like that. 18 to 20 guys are out there paddling, and we're in the water, and I'm not even kidding you. Oh, and they point over on the shore there where there's giant crocodiles, and they were in the water as well. Now, they weren't really close to me, so while I can say that I was swimming with crocodiles, right, you're like, okay, you weren't swimming like with the crocodile. I wasn't like holding on to the crocodile while I was swimming, no. But I was swimming right in the same river mouth where crocodiles live and eat and swim around for 20 minutes underwater, and I was definitely freaking out. I wasn't even worried about the waves, and I didn't even know how to surf that well. But okay, we got through the crocodiles. And then the next challenge, I thought the crocodiles would scare me. And then I got out to the water. It took me a good 30 minutes. I was exhausted with all these younger guys by like 10 years younger than me. They were 20 something. I was in my 30s. Here we are, and these waves just started. I mean, they were monster waves. But the crazy thing is the adrenaline and endorphins. I was so excited. We got out into the waves and the ocean, and we got out of the crocodiles. The problem was we had to come back in the same way we came out. We paddled out. So anyway, long story short, why did I tell you that? Why did I share this story with you? Because I want to ask you something. Are your goals big enough? Do they scare you enough? Do you have to actually make some choices that might scare the hell out of you? It might not be a crocodile, right? It might not be to have to paddle through crocodiles. Maybe you don't have an interest to surf big waves. I get it. I totally get it. But what? I'm sure you have some goals that are scary goals. Maybe they're business related goals. Maybe they are fitness related goals. Maybe you want to run your very first marathon and you feel like that's like swimming with crocodiles, so to speak, right? Maybe you want to actually fit in a pair of jeans that you know you haven't been able to fit in maybe 10 or 15 years. Maybe that's the crocodile that you're afraid to face, and maybe you're just afraid to take that step of faith into the unknown. You see, was it really risky? Yes, but life is about risks. Now, would I do it again? Probably not, right? And if you'd have told me there was crocodiles in the water while we were driving there, because they didn't say anything until we got near the water, and then I was with other people, and you know what? When you surround yourself with other people who have confidence, guess what? It helps to build confidence. Now, there was a little bit of stupidity there, I'll have to admit. And I'm not talking about that for you. Just wanted to get the point across with your goals, right? Your goals, are they big enough? Do they scare you enough? Or are you more scared of just being satisfied with where you're at? And I would say is maybe that's because your goals aren't big enough. Maybe it's because you haven't set or moved the bar high enough for you to achieve. Maybe you realize, hey, I've been 40 pounds overweight for the last 20 years. I might as well just stay on the path I'm on. I'm unhealthy, I'm unfit. There's no reason. I'm just going to set myself up for failure. Well, I could have done that. Crocodile could have ate me. And honestly, I got my butt handed to me in the waves. Literally, I crashed more than I started. I think I caught maybe 2 waves. But can I tell you, those 2 waves, the rush and the satisfaction of achieving that goal of surfing a really big wave. Now, was I very good on the wave? No. But did I actually accomplish it? Yes. Did I come out of it with confidence? Hell yes, I did. Now, it's kind of crazy because I've come back. Now, this is now 10 years later, and I've been going back to Costa Rica for 10 years now. And I've been on big waves like that. And I would say, was I less confident the next time I went? No, I was more confident. In fact, the next time I went, I was more confident. And then the next time I went in big waves, I was more confident. And guess what? Then it's like, oh, wow, that goal is achievable. That goal is achievable. I actually can believe I can do this. And for me, it was actually stepping out into some fear, realizing that, you know what, sometimes it takes a risk. Sometimes it takes stepping out in fear of the unknown. Like, I didn't know there was a crocodile not underneath me. That's something that for you have to decide, and sometimes it helps. Now, if I was there by myself, I can tell you this 100% for a fact. If I drove there and saw the crocodiles, I would have turned around and drove the 2 hours it took us to get there. I would have drove back. I would not have gone in the water if I was by myself. But I wasn't by myself. I was with other guys who went there, who swam, who paddled through, who assured me that they're not going to mess with you if you don't mess with them. The waves are worth it. Like, it's worth it on the other side. And I'm going to tell you now, not as a surf coach, but as a fitness and weight loss coach, is that it's pretty amazing on the other side. If you can get to believe in yourself enough to set some big goals, to reach those heights where maybe you're a little bit afraid, maybe you're a little bit like unsure, you don't believe in yourself quite yet. Like, I didn't believe in myself, but guess what I did? And guess how I overcame it? I surrounded myself with people who've done it before, people who are encouraging. In fact, I remember getting smashed by the waves a number of times, but they're like, Mark, you got this, you could do this. You can do this, just duck dive. They were teaching me how to do it. I was learning from guys that have been there before. And sometimes that's what it takes. It's okay to get help. It's okay to take risks. The fact that you may not be achieving your goals or may not be setting those goals high enough, that's a risk itself. The risk, it's called the risk of regret. So the good news for me is I don't regret. Now, there's no regrets, I would say, is if I lost my leg, if the crocodile got me, he got me. You know what? My wife probably wouldn't have been happy. My kids probably not so happy. Maybe my wife be happy. I say sometimes I'm worth more dead than alive, my life insurance policy, but that's a whole nother story. But I would say is are your goals big enough? Are you setting goals big enough that they scare you a little bit? Maybe your goals don't feel attainable or achievable, but I can tell you with the right help, they can be achievable. You see, I survived. Not only that I can tell you this story now with the hopes that it helps maybe one of you realize what's the crocodile that you're afraid of crossing the river mouth to get to those goals. Maybe for you, it's stepping out on a ledge and asking for help. Say stepping over the fence, maybe instead of sitting on the fence, making the decision to get the help you need, right? Surrounding yourself with like-minded people who can help pull you to that next level of your goals, whatever that may be, right? So anyway, I hope you like my story of the crocodile. Be on the lookout for tomorrow. I'll be sharing a copy of that. And I hope this day finds you well. Happy Wednesday. Take care and God bless.